so what they're talking about is shopping a deal with multiple lenders. At Rainstar, our policy on this, and if your broker's in the room, I'd write this down because it's a great way to handle it. Number one, you don't ever want to do what you just talked about, is that it pisses them off and they feel like they're being shopped. Okay? Real estate of all the product lines is very rate driven, it's LTV driven, right? So if your borrower requires multiple term sheets, communicate that out of the gate. We call that, I'll write this down, a competitive bid situation, alright? So if you go to Jeff, if you go to Rob and say, hey, listen, I know their request fits Jeff the best, but I'm required, my responsibility as the client's advisor broker is to get 3 term sheets. Tell them that out of the gate, because then Robert might be like, hey, listen, we're too busy. You don't waste his time, you don't waste your time. But maybe these, 2 or 3 of the other guys will issue term sheets on it, right? It's about effective communications, and it's also about managing your expectation. Because on the flip side, you don't want to be blacklisted or kicked off from working with any of these lenders. Like Terry was saying, different deals need different forms of capital, right? And so you don't want to piss off Terry, you don't want to piss off Sean, you don't want to piss off any of these people, because there may come a time and place where you need them. Okay, so maintain those relationships is crucial, right? Let's segue now to what does it look like? So you start that dating process, you identify that Jeff or Sean or Robert is someone you want to do business with. I want each of our panelists to go, start with you, Terry, speak a little bit about how each of your firms is set up regarding how a broker onboards with you. What does that look like? And then second, what does that onboarding relationship look like, both from a volume perspective, an expectation perspective, and then also like we're getting on earlier, the training perspective. But what does that mean? What are some of those tools like Jeff was talking about earlier?
So with us, we have a pretty simple system. Usually we talk to the broker before they send us a deal so we can get to know them, they can get to know us. Because we're a broker too. We do things that our bridge company doesn't do. We do in ACS, which is our broker house. And so we want to get to know you a little bit, but then basically you just send us an email describing the deal, just a short summary. I don't need a 30-page summary. I just need a short summary. We're trying to borrow this. This is what the ACV or we believe the value is. This is the takeout plan, because we're a short-term bridge lender, so what's the permanent solution? And these are our borrowers, what do you think? And then we'll look at it real quick and we'll say, yeah, we think we can help you. Send me a PFS in the last 3 years tax returns, and I can look at it and make sure they can qualify for it, for what we're looking for, and we'll send you an LOI. And the LOI goes right to you and you deliver it to the client. The client signs it, sends it back. Then we do an onboarding call with our credit team. Our credit team actually sets up a call with the borrower, the broker, and our team internally. It walks through exactly how the process is going to work. Because we're quick. We're 17 days to come. Okay, so it's fast. We got to get the docs in. We got to get rolling. We do a full underwriting. We are not a no doc lender. We do full underwriting, but it doesn't weigh on the client's credit. That's not our decision. Is not based on the client's credit. We're looking at the asset and what's the takeout plan. So that's kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, so if any of you decide that Pier Street is a good avenue to get some deals funded on the bridge side, or you'd like to sell us some paper, we go through an onboarding process, and that's actually my team handles that. There's some light due diligence, and there's 3 different channels that you can get onboarded into. One would just be the easiest, and it takes about a day to get set up on as a broker with Pier Street. And we'll go through, just collect your org docs, and then you're up on the platform after that. Second would be our table funding, like I mentioned, funding in your name. There's a liquidity check involved with that, so we just want to make sure that there's the number's 150,000 in the bank as a liquidity check, and then from there you're actually able to access table funding, and then finally the loan sale, which we do take a look at we'll take a look at your portfolio, some recently closed loans, and then we do a liquidity check. From there, again, it could be 1 or all 3 of those different channels. And essentially what we do is we get you activated on the lender platform. So we'll turn on, what states you're eligible to work in, along with the method of how you want to close loans with us. And then from there, you actually get introduced to your account or relationship manager. So that's somebody at our company who's dedicated to your account, so that you can pull up pretty much any time, call on the phone, walk through on how to best structure any given deal, and that all actually can be done through the platform as well online. So let's say you're working through a loan, there's a little chat box feature where you can talk directly to one of our analysts as you're actually inputting it there. And again, that's as soon as you're onboarded, the first thing we do with the relationship manager is give you a tutorial of that technology, show you how to submit your loan. And typically, just being honest, it takes a few loans to really understand, okay, now I can go off and do this on my own. But once you do, it ends up being, I think, one of the most powerful tools in the industry. So yeah, that's pretty much what it looks like to get onboarded, and then how you get started from there. Your relationship manager, once you're off and running, will check in maybe a couple times a month. Won't hit you up too much, but maybe two or three times. And if you need more than that, we're here for you.
Sure. Lima Capital, obviously want you to complete your broker application. We take that internally, my team takes it, gets you signed on. We absolutely do a background check. So, if you kind of had the Madoff thing in your past, you probably don't want to work with us. You probably don't want to work with you. But all that being said, once we have you onboarded, you're assigned a dedicated account representative on the broker side, and they will help you with the onboarding process itself. We also obviously, working with somebody personally is critically important to your success, but we also leverage technology. So we have a broker portal. You can price out deals in there. Even if it doesn't ultimately come to us, you can still see your quotes in there, see what it is today versus what the rates may be 2 weeks from now, et cetera. And then you're gonna have your rep checking in with you quite a bit. And what's the great thing about our team at Lima One Capital is if you're starting out with Lima, we understand that you may not know the ins and outs of our fix and flip product. Our fix and flip product is going to be similar to colleagues here on the panel, but not exactly the same. We get that, we understand that, and we're not going to get frustrated when you call us 2 or 3 times and say, hey, you said it's 12 months. No, we actually said it was 13 months our loan, etc. These are things that it's our responsibility to help you become successful. We understand that this is a partnership, it's a team, and we only become successful if you're successful. You close loans, we get paid, you get paid. So there's a vested interest in all of us to make sure that you're onboarded properly at Lima Capital.
Similar, I mean, it's a fairly easy process. You would start, you go to our website, you tech-enabled process. The key is to get you assigned to a loan officer who is gonna shepherd you through the process of being a partner, kind of from start to finish. With simple broker agreements, 3 pages, it really just outlines, the understanding of how you're gonna get paid and how we're gonna work together, so there's no misunderstandings about that going down the road. We also, for those that are interested, we provide some white label marketing materials and application, things that look like they're coming from you rather than have our logo all over it. And so it allows you to do some marketing on our behalf, and makes it easy for you. Again, we don't do that, we do that by request. It's kind of data on numbers. We have about 7,500 brokers in our system. We have about a little under 2,000 that have signed a broker agreement with us. And in the last 12 months, we've done loans with about 230 of them. So if we just naturally just blast out all these materials, we're gonna spend a whole lot of time building materials for people who are not gonna do a loan with us. But all you have to do is say, yes, I'd like them, and we'll do it. There's obviously a cost, so it's a little bit, it's an investment we're willing to make on the folks that would like that kind of stuff. Then once you've got a signed agreement, it's really, you discuss a deal, you get an application for your borrower. Again, the application is white labeled, you collect that. A lot of times the broker fills the application out in its entirety for their client and sends it in, and then we would produce an LOI, or a term sheet, we would get that come to you would get it signed, and then finally you would collect a fee for the appraisal. And then we're off to the races.
Yeah, so similar process. The biggest thing with onboarding a broker is understanding the broker agreement, making sure you understand how the broker agreement protects you. It's really less about protecting the lender, and it's really more about protecting the individual broker. And the reason I say that is because most lenders have some retail component, including RCN. It's super important that you understand how you as the broker are protected should that individual customer attempt to circumvent you. Newsflash, all customers lie. So even though they may say they don't shop you out as a broker, they very may well be. And they could be circumventing you, going directly to your lending partner, and you not knowing it. So it's so important that that lender protects you and makes sure that the technology that they have enabled protects you, and there's no way that that customer can go directly to that lender. That's really, for us, the purpose of the broker agreement, is to make sure that you are protected in the event the customer attempts to circumvent, and make sure you're paid, outlines all those things. The other side of it's the technology. And I mentioned we started the company back in 2010 in the middle of the crazy foreclosure crisis, right? So we were like any shop, like it was literally myself and a loan officer. And I'm like, well, what are we gonna do for technology? Anybody come from the residential world? Did anybody have a residential mortgage? So Encompass, Kalex, all these software programs that the residential world uses to originate. I'm like, none of this works. None of this works for the commercial world. So we ended up just building it ourselves, right? Like I'm like, this is ridiculous. So over the past 10 odd years, we have been building a system that powers RCN, but can also power our wholesale relationships. And we ended up branding them separately, Bridge Loan Network. They're here. You should check them out. Because we built it for lenders, it's different. And that technology is, at the end of the day, what protects the broker. And that, I think it really goes to what your question is.
Yeah, sure. So as he's talking about, go ahead, you got a question?
I want to piggyback on that. I had a client